HOMEGROUND is about art, artists, identity, people and place. And really it's a new award for artists who work in socially engaged, in collaborative practice, but also those artists who create work for children and young people. And I suppose the other thing for us is that we were also interested in working with artists that were either from Dublin 15 or from Fingal, or whose work could have a resonance here.
HOMEGROUND is a tailored mentoring programme developed by Draíocht in collaboration with Fingal County Council, and it probably has emerged as a formal programme, but over many years there has been a huge commitment here to artists, and particularly artists whose work is rooted in children and young people.
Everybody knows Draíocht, everyone's aware of it, and its amazing programmes of work. Strategically, we've been able to work with Draíocht over the years, developing a lot of programmes that have come kind of from the ground up, from artists. So everything from professional development opportunities to the graduate exhibitions, to exhibitions that celebrated Fingal artists in a contemporary art space.
So it was open call. And that was important to us in terms of getting that out there to a whole range of artists. So I suppose one of the joys for us as we looked at the applications coming in is that there were a number of different disciplines, I suppose, represented in the applications, you know. And there were also applications from people that we knew and people that we didn't know so well but may have been on our radar. So there's 4 participating artists. We have Thomas Johnston, who is a musician, really skilled, and a theatre maker.
I played the whistle and uilleann pipes, and I'm the artistic director of Cowley Connected, a company that creates work for young audiences that's inspired by the world of traditional arts. That's sort of where my home is. None of the work that we do at Cowley Connected it wouldn't be possible if it weren't for all of the collaboration with other artists, with visual artists, theatre makers, puppeteers, to sort of bring the traditional arts and those other art forms into that one place. And Draíocht all over the years have been so supportive in giving us a space to create the work that we create, and the Farfield set that you can see behind me here is one example of that. When I saw the HOMEGROUND opportunity, it felt like a very natural step to embark on this new journey of mentoring with an art centre that already knew me and knew my work.
We have Jijo Sebastian Palatty, who lives in Dublin 15, is originally from Kerala in India, but has made his life and his family's life here, and who is a collaborative filmmaker.
When I say I'm a filmmaker, I'm a self-made filmmaker. I'm a collaborative, participatory filmmaker. All the films I've made they are rooted in Keralite filmmaking lineage. Thematic-wise, we mostly deal with immigrant issues, and then my practice really falls into that category of socially engaged art. And then the other factor about my films, I would say they are in many ways low budget, no budget. All the films were short fictional films. But while as my films, let's say, they are documentary subject matter but treated in a fictional way. I used to come to this shopping center, but I used to see Draíocht, but I never knew what it was all about. But I never knew that it had any programs to develop or accommodate the local artists or anything like that. And then two of my films were exhibited here as part of another Mother Tongues Festival. Then I met Emer, and then the relationship began there. Well, the first thing is that HOMEGROUND, with all those programs, helped me to look back at my practice very thoroughly. I look back at myself very thoroughly. When I step on something, I feel like I belong there. That's the kind of feeling I have to Dublin 15 at the moment, because I've been here for the last 6 years or something. And then Draíocht being from there, it's like an institution from back in my village. That's something very unique. And this is local. This is from my own place.
And we have Michelle Hall. And Michelle Hall is another Dublin 15 person, I'm proud to say. And we have actually worked with Michelle previously. So it is the thing where we have a different relationship or a different stage of a relationship with each of those artists.
So I'm from the Dublin 15 area. I'm from Blanchardstown. I grew up not far from Draíocht at all. And so it's really important for me to be working with Draíocht at this point in my career, in my practice, and in this way as well through the HOMEGROUND project. I'm a visual artist. I work across a range of media, including moving image, photography, drawing, performance, text. I write a lot as part of my practice. I'm really interested in working with objects, images, textures, details to create narrative. So I would create narrative for moving image works. I would use text with drawing. In terms of what I make work about and the subject matters of my work, I'm really interested in narratives around healing and practices of healing. Over the years, my work has been always trying to find these ways in to speak about the processes of our bodies, of our emotions, of our psychology and so on.
We have Munoz, who is a choreographer, dancer, who creates work for children and young people.
Well, my background is as a dancer. I'm originally from Barcelona, and I moved to Germany quite young, just to do my training at the Pina Bausch school. So I was dancing already in Barcelona, but I wanted really to do this training, and I was blown away by the dance theater. So I went there to study, and I spent 20 years in Germany. My tradition also now, when I choreograph, comes very much with this idea of dance theater. I like to see people dancing, I will say, more than dancers. Then over the last 3 years, I created my own work with a strong focus on children and young audiences. I like somehow to empower children. Well, HOMEGROUND has been such a gift, absolutely. Really, really helpful to spend time just focusing and reflecting on my practice, and on one maybe particular aspect of my practice that it's a bit new, and really what is to have a creative exchange with children, what is to have them as partners.
What was really important was that it had a number of strands that focused both on the professional practice of the artist, but also on their personal development. So it was conceived as being quite holistic. And this, I think, is the key and the distinctiveness of HOMEGROUND as a mentoring programme for artists. That it would be long-term, and that it would basically look at the person, the practice, and then the specific project.
There's a number of elements to it. So there was a mentorship element, which was really core to it. We weren't going, so by the end of the first 6 months now, you need to do X, you need to deliver X. We didn't do that, We really wanted to give them time and space.
To this process of HOMEGROUND, one of the reasons I was interested in it as a research and development opportunity, and through the conversations that we had as a group, was that it was not outcome based from the get-go, right? We were having these great conversations about allowing things to develop, how the process unfolds and so on. So I really felt very supported in that. So my mentor was Marie Brett, and we met monthly. And in our sessions together, we spoke through my practice and process, but also Marie had questions to put to me. These were about exploring and reflecting on and what drives my practice, what drives me as an artist.
A lot of the time as an artist, you know, to live as an artist and to be as an artist, you're brought in lots and lots of different directions into admin and production and funding and a whole host of other activities that surround you so that you can have those moments of being an artist. And I think for me, the mentoring came around at just that right time with Fergus O'Cruher. I suppose I felt that it could really be about me and not necessarily about Cowley Connected and this overarching mission and vision. I think mentoring is about having new ways of thinking and new little strategies and tools for processing your thought patterns almost in your work.
My mentor is Cowley. Nobody has seen my films in such detail and given me such in-depth review of the films as Joe. That kind of input is essential for an artist to grow, you know. And only when you find a person who can give you that kind of input, you get a door open. Okay, then now you can see yourself from another perspective. And at the same time, Joe is, you know, encouraging me to find my way myself. You know, that's been a great help.
It was really useful to talk with my two mentors. I had Fergus O'Cruher, and with him I was talking more about my general practice. What do I want to do really with my work for young audiences? What seeds I have to plant? How do I see myself in 5 years? Or what really excites me and in which way I can dig in more in this practice? But it was more general, and with Christine Devaney, which is the director of Curious Seed, which is a company based in Scotland, with her has been more about one particular thing, and it's really the role of the children in a creative process. So yeah, the idea not only that I create dance pieces for them, but with them.
Our key kind of partner on this was Fingal County Council and was the Arts Office in Fingal County Council. You know, looking at what we could do together that would have a real impact on artists, be a real support for artists, but that would have resonance for Dublin 15 and for Fingal.
Well, HOMEGROUND is a very unique initiative to Fingal and very close to our hearts in that it's very much artist-led, and it's placing artists at the centre of their own personal and professional development. So like, to look at the HOMEGROUND model, an artist at a different stage of their career, a professional artist and a more experienced artist, is actually imparting very generously their knowledge of the field and of their field and of their experiences in the various art forms that they have come across throughout their careers, that it provides that opportunity for that peer network to develop.
It developed into a phase 1 and phase 2, you know. So phase 1 was that reflection piece. It was about the artists connecting with each other, sharing their practice. It was about coaching. It was about them engaging with mentors. There was a coaching element, a kind of a check-in element, and that check-in element was between the participants themselves and between myself and Sharon. And then I suppose there was an element that looked at a project, you know, because HOMEGROUND is rooted in their work, you know, and who they are as artists. So I think all of those elements were really important to us.
The expectations for the second phase, which have come out of the experience of the first phase during COVID, has been that now that people have had an opportunity, artists have had an opportunity to consider their practice and to consider specific projects and look at work in a very focused way, that we want in the second phase for it to be much more hands-on, so that out of the first phase of reflection and distillation, that the artists are able to identify a project maybe now that they want to actively engage with, and as the world opens up, that is obviously possible.
Really important has been this space for development, to allow a process to unfold, to discuss that together. And now at this point, as we move into phase 2, it feels like a different action point in a sense, like working towards something tangible next year, but coming from that space of exploration really. As we move into phase 2 of HOMEGROUND, I'll be working towards an exhibition next year in Draíocht. So me and Sharon will continue to work together, continue that conversation that we've already begun. So the exhibition that I'll be creating next year in Draíocht is part of their 21st birthday celebrations, so it'll be a commission around that.
Well, the fact that we were all coming from different disciplines was very rich. These 6 months have been a period of reflection in my practice, and it's fantastic to have now the next 6 months where I will be working with a group of dancers. So I suppose it's the next step, all the work and all the idea of the mentorship in action, and just to bring the children from Fingal and Draíocht and myself, and continuing the work and having the children as a central part of the work.
Yeah, the next 6 months I'm trying to write a script. I want to explore that place where differences meet. Being an immigrant, I'm always interested in that space. And I want to know what is the nature of that space when very different people meet. And what happens then, or what can happen. So I'm looking towards something like that. I'm going to write in a transcultural space. At the moment, the whole world is in turmoil over these intercultural problems. But I want to know how can that space be managed, or how can that space be used and utilized for betterment of living together of differences. I'm interested in differences, and I want to see and explore how differences can be used to grow.
I think our work is really embedded in Draíocht. It's embedded in Draíocht because of the whole range of supports that they give us, but also their connection to the community and children and young people in and around Blanchardstown that we would very much connect with. So when we're developing a show here, developing a new piece of work, we can reach young audiences that help to inform that work and bring it somewhere else. And Draíocht is the sort of way that we do that. They sort of not only nurture those relationships between artists, but it's also between the artists and Cowley Connected and the local communities as well.
Artists work in isolation quite a lot, and they're asked to do many things these days. They're producer, they're production manager, they're creator, they have multiple tasks. And actually, if we can take some of those and support them in doing what they really want to do, which is to create work that is meaningful to them and to the public, then that's our job. What I'm really interested in is an arc of time which gives people space, and for work to develop, for work to permeate, and to allow artists the security and stability and the supports to be able to do that. So it isn't all, outcome driven. So the important thing for us is that we met artists at where they were at. I think that was really important, that we want to engage with people and support artists' practice in a way that was bespoke, that was tailored, that was sustained, but all around them as individuals and around their practice.